Alright guys, so we're taking a look at another ISDT charger. Seems like these guys are pumping out chargers every couple of weeks, it seems like, but maybe once a month or so. New model comes out, and actually this one's been out for a while. I haven't had time to take a look at it. There's not a whole lot of differences here between these and some of the older models. They just kind of move things around a little bit and maybe add a few features, but in terms of the specs and something, in terms of like the capabilities, it's maybe slightly improved over the older models, but not significantly. Obviously, if you're in the market for a charger, you probably want to get the more latest models versus something that's older. Of course, that's kind of personal preference as well. Now, the big thing with this one here is the way it does the AC versus DC power setup here, and this has a built-in AC to DC inverter, so you can plug in the included AC cord here, and this is the cord, and you see it's at right angle. So when you plug this in, this is the major feature of this charger that's different from the older ones. You plug this in, if you're at home and you're charging on AC, you can't accidentally plug in an XT60 battery and blow the charger. It's a safety feature here, and vice versa. If you have a XT60 plugged in for DC power, you can't inadvertently plug in the AC power cord and blow the inverter inside. So they have this little design here to prevent accidents, and which is always good because you don't want your electronics blowing up on you and batteries catching fire, etc. It's a pretty big charger. I'll show you what this looks like compared to my D2. This is yes, I still have the D2 from like 3 years ago, and it still works and works great. And the K2 is pretty similar to the D2. The D2 was AC only here, as you can see, and now the K2 is AC and DC. And basically, you have the dual channel, 6S capability charger here with at-home charging or in the field charging if you have a really giant battery, something like this here, 6S 5200 milliamp hour. I'm sure there's even bigger batteries out there if you're doing field charging, and you want a bigger charger with more capabilities, and this might fit the bill here if you wanted to have something that works out at the field and also at home. But quick look at the charger. You got a fan here, vents here in the back, and the fan on this side. So obviously it looks like each channel has its own fan. Here's the bottom. We'll look at the specs here in the manual in a moment. Nothing. Regular buttons here. You do get the manual, of course. We'll look at that in a second. Stickers, as usual, and the screen protector. It does come with a temporary screen protector here that, it looks like it's all scratched up. You can just remove that, of course, and put the included screen protector on there. I just lazy. Didn't want to take that time to put that on. 6S only here, not 8S. XT60 for each channel. You get a USB Type-C port here. You can turn on and off in the settings, and I believe the default setting is off, and it's used for firmware updates. Typical ISDT, you can get firmware updates on this now via USB. And if you turn this on, you can charge it. I think it's at 5 volts, 2 amps to a USB Type-C cable, which is not included, and you can charge pretty much anything via this USB-C port. Phones, for example, are one thing. They show a picture of that in their product page. Let's go ahead and let's fire this up. Okay, so yeah, here it's on basically two channels on each side. Pretty small screen. I think it's like 2.3 inches. Let's look at the specs now. All right, so here are the specs in the manual. I'm not going to bother reading everything here off to you. I'm just going to point out some of the important things. So this is dual channel. You're going to get more power on DC versus AC. That's very typical. It's only 200 watts AC. I'm assuming probably about 100 watts per channel. But on DC, you can get up to 1,000 watts or 500 watts per channel. So that's pretty normal. The discharge current here, 0.2 to 1.5 amps per channel. Not a whole lot. Up to 20 amps charging, and 15 watts per channel discharging power. So it's going to take a while if you have a big 6S battery to discharge it. Just keep that in mind. It's going to be sitting there for a while discharging. And you have your typical normal battery types here. I don't think I see anything unusual or different here. It's all pretty much the same. So in terms of the interface on here, we have 3 physical buttons, no scroll wheel now, and up and down buttons. And I think to choose a channel, you press the button on the right. This is channel 2. Over here, this is channel 1. Yeah, and it doesn't say on here which channel it's on. It just says K2. You can see that there's a little bit of a line here. So you can see that most of the screens on this side says that indicates that's channel 2. And then you see the line moves over on this side, and that means that this is channel 1. It doesn't show what the pack voltage of the connected battery is. That's different. Usually that will show up on the screen here. Let's see if we long press the channel 1 button. Brings up the task setting. So here you can change your typical settings. I have to use the buttons corresponding with that channel. So these buttons over here for channel 2 don't do anything. So you can change your typical tasks from charge, discharge, storage, and destroy. That's totally the same as before. Chemistry, choose your battery type here. Also, you can change the end voltage, number of cells. You can choose that. Usually, it will detect that automatically. So actually, I'll plug in a 2S here, and we'll see what it does when you plug it in. And then you can obviously change your current here, and then hit start. Now to get into the actual charger settings, I think you long press both center buttons. Brings up the advanced menu here. And then, oh, there's another thing, another feature, DC power to channel 1. It doesn't work on channel 2. So if you want to use this as a DC power supply, you can adjust your voltage here. So let's say if I want to make this a 16 volt power supply at, it looks like the maximum is 5 amps. Let's say at 4 amps. Then this output here on the XT60 on channel 1 will output 16 volts at 4 amps, basically consistent power. So you can use that as a power supply, and all you have to do is toggle it on and off here. So it's currently on or off. And then let's go back into the settings again. And then if you want to go into the main system settings, you bring up that menu and then hit the system settings button. And then here under lowest input voltage and max input power, these are not adjustable on AC power, only on DC power. You can adjust your backlight, your volume for the tones, completion tone, USB charge. Here you can turn that on or off. And then they'll enable the USB-C port for power. I'm going to leave that off. The split screen thing here, that means that after 30 seconds it'll actually go from the single screen to the split screen. You can adjust that. You can actually turn that off or adjust it to 60 seconds. And I don't know who uses BackGo anymore. It's obviously ISDTs which have been pushing that, but I still don't have any BackGo batteries, and I don't know anyone who actually uses them. Theme here, bright or dark. So if you want night mode, you can do that. Looks like the bright is actually easier to see. Basically your channel calibration. If you want to adjust your end voltages there, you can adjust that. This one seems to be calibrated, and then this is your system information. And yeah, that's pretty much it here. Let's see if I missed anything important. Doesn't look like it. Yeah, there's like basically, it's pretty much like all the other ISDT chargers in the past, not really all that different. Let's go ahead and do a little test demo. I got an XT30 battery here, so I'm going to use a little adapter to convert from XT60 to XT30. You want to plug in the balance lead, of course, and this is opposite of Toolkit RC. The balance plug is upside down, the negative is on the left. Alright, plug that in. And we can see that we're on the split screen now. This is timed out, and it's detected that it is 2S. Current pack voltage is 7.6 volts. So let's go ahead and select that channel. Now we can see the breakdown by channel or by cell. 3.82. This is pretty much a storage voltage. And then yeah, all the same screens here. Let's go ahead and long press, and it's automatically detected to 2S. And yeah, 1 amp. So this is like a 2200 milliamp hour 2S battery. Charge, LiPo, all looks good. Let's hit start. And now the fans are kicking on. And actually it's kicking on both sides, even though only channel 1 is charging. And so it's not super loud, but you can definitely hear it from a distance. Let's see here how long it takes before the internal resistance numbers. Nope, the internal resistance numbers came up pretty quickly. And you can see your milliamp hours going in, current charge, and estimated pack voltage 50%. Yeah, pretty typical here. Charger stats 10 watts. This is 10 watts coming from the battery that's powering the charger, and then the 7.7 volts and 8 watts is the power going into the battery that's being charged. Alright, so we can see we're at 3.86 volts. Let's go ahead and stop this. So I just press the center button here. You can adjust the current in mid-cycle if you want. That's same as always. Hit stop here, and I think the voltage will come down a little bit, and the fans turn off. So nothing really that surprising here. Everything is pretty much working like all the other ISDT chargers that I've ever used before. Yeah, so I think that'll cover it for this one. If you want to like go back and look at my older videos, I have a battery charger playlist, and you can compare these to some of the other older ISDT chargers, see if there's any differences that you notice. Obviously, it looks pretty much the same to me. Obviously, the biggest feature here is the AC/DC capability. It does make the charger bigger, but if you just want one charger and carry it around from home to the field, then yeah, maybe you want to check this one out. Anyway, links to this will be down in the video description. If you have any questions about this one, let me know in the comment section, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one.